So on sort of a different topic, you mentioned a little bit about how all of this sort of perpetuates violence against Asian people living in America and Asian Americans. And I was wondering if you could expand on that. We all know, we all heard the comments that Trump made around the COVID-19 pandemic, and we've all sort of seen some of the impacts of that, but tying this into sort of the broader picture of what's going on between the US and China.
Yeah, well, it's a daily microaggressions if you're Asian, because people are really insensitive in how they talk about things and how they talk about China. I would say coming out of the Obama, the Trump, and the Biden administration and the military-industrial complex, they don't deal with these issues as like we're dealing with human beings. And so it becomes China, it becomes, pivot to Asia. And in a time where we live in a country where people are really frustrated, but I think there's like 65% of a populist movement, both left and right. And that's a lot of not happiness with the structure of your country that you live in. So they're going to look for things to be angry at. I mean, why does Fox News have its power? Because it kind of feeds a bone to the dog every day of something to be angry at. And if out of the White House and out of the Pentagon are coming these ideas of we need to be angry at China and China is the enemy and China's doing this wrong and that wrong, and that's going to trickle down because then they're going to be to blame by people who are angry. And so that's a long time. I mean, Asian people in the United States have been mistreated at a level that is really painful. As a U.S. citizen, to even to think about some of the things that have had to be held by being Asian. And so, a complexity, a culture that's not understood or valued, and not even attempted to be understood or valued. So it's deep also in the sinewy fabrics of this empire. And it's deep in our, education system, and it's deep in the yellow peril. And even as we kind of understand things we've done wrong, we didn't learn. Because there's no apology, there's no recognition, there's no I'll behave differently, there's no accountability or responsibility. Much different than if you look at Germany and the way they've atoned. That doesn't happen in the United States on anything. It doesn't happen on Indigenous people and Black people and Asian people on Latin America. It's like or on all the places the United States has violated, there's no sense of accountability, responsibility, or setting it straight. So when you don't do that, then you leave open this place of being the enemy and being the place where anger can be targeted. And we've already seen this. We've seen the Pivot to Peace, one of our partners in the coalition we're all part of, is really committed to working in this community and organizing in this community for themselves. The aggression on China, they are very clear, is going to be an aggression on them here in the United States. And they're organizing beautifully, and we work with them as much as we can. We were just together at a disruption outside of Nancy Pelosi's house, delivering signatures to her on, how her efforts as a member of Congress are creating Asian hate.
Thank you. And I think it's important to recognize that oftentimes, the enemies that we attempt to create abroad create the same at home. And I think that you saw that after Iraq and Afghanistan as well. And so remembering that these are things that have happened before, and these are things that are kind of deeply embedded within US and American history. And that everything kind of intersects in a way, and there is not just one way to look at things.